So, welcome back to the podcast without a name, which is the name of the podcast now, so there's an oxymoron. Today I will be reviewing / ranting about Cinder by Marissa Meyer, the first book in the Lunar Chronicles. Now, if you're in 8th grade and you somehow haven't heard about the Lunar Chronicles, you either have terrible memory or you're a transfer student. The books were super popular about a few years ago, but I never really got into it because I was going through my hipster phase and they were too mainstream. So recently I decided to put 6th grade girls everywhere to the test by reading the book through the eyes of someone actually critically discerning. And I hate Cinder, and here's why. Alright, that was harsh. The book actually starts out with an interesting premise. A retelling of a popular fairy tale in a dystopian setting that puts a twist on the original story. I was excited. The first third of the book, the part that sets up most of the premise and gets the plot going, was super interesting. The two protagonists are Cinder and Prince Kai. Kai is thrown headfirst into a world of political intrigue and tough decisions after his father dies of the plague, and he is crowned king. Cinder is a cyborg living amongst humans, an outcast, and when the plague takes her sister, her life begins to go off course. And at this point in the book, so does the plot. You see, after the premise is established, some parts of the book don't make sense. Cinder reveals her plans to flee the nation after the Lunar Queen arrives to marry the prince for political power. A major part of her arc, mind you, and it's never mentioned again. Halfway through the book, her stepmother starts behaving more like her evil counterpart and less like herself without explanation. The queen's powers are never really explained and are really vague, and honestly, I could go on, but I think you get the point. And at some points there are plot twists which are supposed to be a substitute for character development, I think. But the thing about plot twists is that when you see them, you're like, whoa, that's a thing. And then the characters are like, whoa, that's a thing that affects me. But if you don't capitalize on it to develop the characters, which Meyer doesn't, by the way, it goes nowhere. The book literally ends on a cliffhanger with another plot twist. And when I read that, I had to restrain myself from screaming out loud in the middle of photography club. And then we have the romance subplot, and can I just say, oh my god, why? The moment Meyer decides to pair up Cinder and Kai to serve the Cinderella story is where the book dies for me. What little nuance the book had was immediately scrapped in favor of this subplot, and it never recovers from it. Kai's story about growing up in political intrigue literally doesn't have a conclusion. The book just switches to Cinder's perspective, and we never see him again. Cinder's already boring story about being different from everyone is replaced by... what exactly? Her massive crush on Kai? Going to the ball? As all of this was happening, I was kind of a passive reader, because the writing style doesn't even have a unique feel or set any kind of mood. After finishing the book and thinking about the general plot, I realized that Kai would have made a much better protagonist than Cinder. The parts of the book told through his perspective are generally much more interesting. They have stakes, there's an immediate threat, but it's glossed over in favor of a story that goes nowhere. I can't even recall any present themes or character development at all in this book, so there's 2 weeks I'm never getting back. I guess, to conclude this midnight coffee-fueled ramble, Cinder and the rest of the Lunar Chronicles all fall into the trappings of the YA novel genre, and it's extra sad because it started out really good. It's average, unmemorable, and leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It's a 3 out of 10, and I never want to read another YA novel again. I guess if I had to recommend this book to someone, I'd recommend it to 6th graders with low standards. Well, I'm Arya, it's 3 a.m., and I'm tired, so I'll see you later.